Yo! Today is October 10th, 2022. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin. We're your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover breaking news, culture, memetic warfare. We will show you why only Bitcoin can give you true financial sovereignty. And when we say that, we obviously mean freedom. Today's going to be a very special show. We're going to talk about the PayPal debacle. They kind of walked it back a little bit. Their stock tanked as well. I think they got caught red-handed. I think they knew exactly what they were doing. And I think that if you want to know what central bank digital currencies are like, all you have to look at the PayPal example. But anyways, before we get to that, I also want to give a very special shout out to my awesome co-hosts, the one, the only, the legendary, the always optimistic. How you doing, Opti?
I'm doing good, Nico. I'm doing good. We got a weekend for once. Got rested-ish, but we always need a longer break because this content game really is it's fucking draining, man. Like mentally draining over here, but. Can't stop the signal. We are continuing on the mission of spreading the sound money gospel. So I'm excited. Hey, and furthermore, just this PayPal news, that was pretty crazy to see happen over the weekend and to see it all play out. So I'm excited to get the Nico Jones tip on this one. But I honestly was waiting for you to introduce the guest first because, this is my boy right here.
Yeah, it's the one, the only. You guys all know him. If you guys haven't seen him, you have seen him. You just don't realize it. You have seen his beautiful artwork. The Meme Factory uses it. Simply uses it. Tone Vase uses it, and many, many more people that I'm sure I don't know of. But how you doing, World of Rusty?
I am great. I'm pumped. I'm pumped to be on Simply Bitcoin. What's up? It's 3 a.m. so it's a little bit early, but I'm pumped. I haven't slept.
There's no sleeping in Bitcoin. You should always be up.
No.
Opti, did you tell everybody what you're going to cover today?
Oh, yeah, no, I didn't. All right, so today's culture segment, I was going to cover this on Friday, but we did the interviews for the mining conference, and it's an article from Bitcoin Magazine, and it's titled, "You Are Responsible for Introducing Those Around You to Bitcoin." And this is something I talk about a lot on the show, so I think there's going to be a good discussion with Nico and, of course, Rusty here today. So starting Monday strong, and we will be on the mission of spreading the sound money gospel, Nico.
Be on the mission. All right, Diogenes, don't kill me. I'm still working on it. I'm tired, but let's get to the numbers. Number time. Brought to you by NODL. At this point, you should be running your own Bitcoin node. If you don't use your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else's. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Whirlpool, and Dojo, all from the comfort of your own home. And if you're a digital nomad, you have absolutely no excuse because now you can run a NODL through a virtual private server. Visit nodl.eu today. All right. The Bitcoin price at the time of recording is 19,236. Sats per dollar is 5,196. Block height 758,053. Reachable Bitcoin nodes 15,155. Blocks of the halvening 81,947. Halving estimates April 20th, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity 4,970 Bitcoin. Capacity value $95 million US. Realized monetary inflation 1.78%. Market capitalization $368 billion with a B. Bitcoin is still a tiny little baby. Anyways, what I want to talk about today, guys, was I want to give a shout out to Ben Bernanke. He was the chairman of the Fed, and he got the Nobel Economics Prize awarded because of how he acted during the financial crisis. And what exactly did he do? Well, I'll let him explain it in his own words. Let's check out this 60 Minutes clip.
Is that tax money that the Fed is spending?
It's not tax money. The banks have accounts with the Fed much the same way that you have an account in a commercial bank. So to lend to a bank, we simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account that they have with the Fed. So it's much more akin, although not exactly the same, but it's much more akin to printing money than it is to borrowing.
You've been printing money.
Well, effectively, and we need to do that because our economy is very weak and inflation is very low. When the economy begins to recover, that'll be the time that we need to unwind those programs, raise interest rates, reduce the money supply, and make sure that we have a recovery that does not involve inflation.
So, fucking lies. So they gave him an award for hitting the P button on a keyboard. If he deserves an award, Satoshi should get a Nobel Economics Prize. I think he did a lot more than he or she or they did a lot more for the world than this guy. I think this guy just exacerbated the problem. We'll get to that in a second. And also this concept of, in a perfect world, if inflation goes high, you stop printing money. But I think this is a beautiful case. The Bank of England doubles its temporary. They use that word temporary as well when Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard. I feel like they love that word. Temporary. They think you're stupid, honestly. QE to purchase $10 billion of UK government bonds per day, right? And remember that when they issue bonds, right, they issue those bonds and they sell those bonds on the open market. And then when they sell those bonds on the open market, that's how they justify the printing of money. The problem is that no one in the world has the money to continue buying those bonds. So what tends to happen is that the central banks themselves end up buying those bonds, and that's how they justify the printing of money. They talk about this mechanism. It's called the Mandrake mechanism in The Creature from Jekyll Island. It's really interesting. But what you have to know is that they do some black magic type of BS to justify all of this in the eyes of the public, right? But at the end of the day, what are they really doing? They're creating money out of thin air. You heard the man himself do it, and they pat themselves on the back for it. It's a giant circle jerk. You did this. You printed all that money. Hey, you deserve a Nobel Prize. Now, what are the consequences of all this money printed? This inorganic money coming out of nowhere, the wealth inequality and the quintillionaires, right? Think about it. Anybody who's closer to the money spigot benefits from it the most, right? If you are in the lower and the middle classes, right, and you don't have the assets, you don't have the means to save in assets, therefore benefit from asset inflation, you are getting poorer because you earn and you save in that fiat money. So every time they print money, what it is a giant wealth redistribution. It's theft, because that's what it is, from the lower middle classes to the very wealthy that do have the means to save in assets, therefore benefit from asset inflation, and to the government, right? So it's giant wealth redistribution, and they gave him a Nobel Prize in economics for stealing, because that's what it is, right? Jesus, man. If that, like, even if Satoshi does get the Nobel Prize, like, it's so, like, I feel like it's lost its pizzazz now, like they don't even care. They pat each other on the back for printing money. How hard is it? How hard could it be? If you have that privilege, if you have that power, right, to create money out of thin air that everybody else has to work for, and you could use that money for God knows what, of course you're going to use that power, man. And not to mention, he was also responsible for picking the winners and the losers out of the 2008 financial crisis. They give him an award for that too. Like, it is absolutely ridiculous. Now, in the way that they see it, right, from the Keynesian way, right, is the way they see it is that this intervention solved the U.S. economy from tragedy, right? And you could have made that argument for sure. I would like to make the argument that the booms and the busts are necessary to root out the inefficient businesses. The government bailed out the inefficient businesses of 2008. Therefore, those businesses never learned their lessons, right? So, I mean, and then this is the whole concept of the too big to fail, right? If you're big enough as a business, then you're entitled to government bailout, which means you're going to take riskier decisions because you know that there's a lender of last resort, so to speak. Right? In Bitcoin, there is no lender of last resort. And I think that I would like to make the argument that that's a good thing, right? So I don't know, man. Like, this is just total clown world. This happened. Russia, like, was positioning itself on Ukraine. There's some other crazy thing that happened. It's a hell of a Monday. Oh, yeah, PayPal. So it's been a hell of a Monday so far. Anyways, Rusty, what are your thoughts on Ben Bernanke and his award?
Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me, like I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, you know what, if I could convince everyone in my suburb to go on like the Rusty dollars that I could just print at home, and I'd be like, it's cool, like we're all gonna like work together, you trust me, like I'm a good dude, and everyone gets on the Rusty dollar standard, and then but I won't print any. I like we've got a fixed supply, whatever. It should be all good. And then but then one day I'm like, oh, someone's in trouble, and like I'm not running a very profitable business here. Like I'll just put some more money in there. Let's bail that guy out. And everyone's like, yeah, well done, man. Like well done, Rusty. You bailed that guy out. And it feels like that. It feels like and I can't I can't go wrong. It's like there's no incentive for me to be a good actor in that scenario. I'll just keep printing. I'll just keep printing money. So like it's yeah. If you got the power to print money, I don't, yeah. It seems stupid. It's just like it's what you're gonna do. But getting a prize for it, that's just clown world.
Yeah, no, it's total freaking clown world. It's like the fiat quintillionaires patting themselves on the back. Oh, I'm so proud of you, man. Oh, you did great. You did great. You hit that P button with such force that no one else could hit that P button like you, Ben Bernanke. That prize should have gone to Satoshi. I'm saying it right now. They should take it from Ben Bernanke. They should give it to Satoshi. Oh, did you know also that with that prize, there's $800,000 that's awarded as well. So he got paid for printing money too. Ooh.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Ooh. Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts, bro?
Wow. Well, first off, I didn't know that you get paid for that as well. So, Cantillionaire is going to Cantillon. Anyways, Clown World confirmed Keynesian economics is trash. Did he get this award because he caused the financial crisis and this is how he studied it? Like, what kind of clown world are we living in? And furthermore, you know, that Bank of England news, nothing more temporary than a temporary government project. Even though this is a bank, you know, it's not necessarily the bank, but anytime
it's the same thing,
yeah,
man.
Exactly. That's why we have to make that distinction, because people will try to hit us with semantics. But furthermore, on that news, I saw this Bloomberg article this morning, and I forget what the title is, but it was talking about how there is no more buyers of bonds, and they are going to continue to print them. So we are living in some crazy times, guys. But man, this Nobel Peace Prize or Nobel Prize of Economics or whatever it's called, I think it's officially has lost any semblance of value that it used to have. Like, it's obviously, like we're saying, you know, it's fiat. It's a fiat award, and I really don't even think Satoshi would want that award. So like, you know, like keep the award and continue the clown world is as far as I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, man. They've ruined everything, and Bitcoin exposes all incentives, and the Nobel Economics Prize, I guess, is no different. Total clown world. Clown prizes for clowns. Anyways, let's check out the culture. I mean, the news.
The Daily News.
Brought to you by Bitbox 2 Bitcoin Only Edition, a hardware wallet by Shift Crypto. Crypto like cryptography. It's secure, it's open source, and it's so easy your mom can set it up. Self-custody is the revolution, and the Bitbox makes it simple. Do not leave your Bitcoin on an exchange. Order a Bitbox today.
I feel like Opti wants to hurt me with the Bitbox. Anyways, at the time of... buy the Bitbox or I'll kill you, Nico.
No.
Pumps me up every time.
This is consensual.
100%.
No, I know it's consensual. I'm telling you how it makes me feel. But yeah, no, that's the best. Man, Opti, you're really good at that, man. Okay. Anyways, all right, guys. So let's talk about PayPal. I'm going to make the argument. I actually tweeted this out, so let me just read you some of my original thought. I said, could you imagine the power that policy would have given PayPal? A lot of people would self-censor just so they wouldn't be fined. Now imagine if you were forced to use this. Those are central bank digital currencies, right? That if you want to know what a future with central bank digital currencies would enable, what type of behavior it would enable, this is the perfect example. The reality is that PayPal is responsible for a huge percentage of internet commerce, right? And this policy is just one step closer to the totalitarianism that, you know, we see this. We see what they want for us. We see the future that they're planning for us. Let me read some of this article. It's by the Daily Wire. This article actually became so popular that it forced PayPal's hands to kind of change tune. And now they're pulling it back saying, oh, we never meant that. I'm calling bullshit. That's just a lie. You don't use the language that I'm going to read right now accidentally. And let me tell you something else. Why is it that the accidents always go against the side of freedom and they don't go towards the other side? The censorship always goes towards the freedom side and it doesn't go towards the control and censorship side. It's just funny how those accidents, so-called accidents, only go one way. Anyways, the name of the article for audio listeners: new PayPal policy lets company pull $2,500 from user accounts if they promote misinformation. A new policy update from PayPal will permit the firm to sanction users who advance purported misinformation or present risk to users' well-being, with fines $2,500 per offense. The financial services company, which has repeatedly deplatformed organizations and individual commentators for their political views, will expand its existing list of prohibited activities on November 3rd. So they already have a history of censoring and deplatforming people, right? But what's scary here is that this isn't information. They're deplatforming people from getting paid, right? And what better incentive to make someone change or to make someone act a certain way than attacking their wallet? Remember, if that person has a family, right, and you threaten their family by not allowing that person to put food on the table, that's a hell of an incentive for that person to act a certain way, right? And I think that this is the end goal here. And this will inevitably be the end goal of central bank digital currencies. And I'm going to make you the case today that that's what they're already thinking. Anyways, goes on to say, among the changes are prohibitions on the sending, posting, or publication of any messages, content, or materials that promote misinformation or present a risk to user safety or well-being. Now, that sounds all good and dandy, but again, who is deciding what is misinformation or not? In 2003, if you would have said Iraq doesn't have weapons of mass destruction, you would be labeled as promoting misinformation. In the last 2 years, if you said a certain thing that was going against the mainstream pandemic narrative, you would have been promoted as misinformation. So this is a very scary path. Are we not meant to openly discuss? Are we not meant to have open conversation? Because what this tells me is that they want everybody saying and thinking the same thing. Present a risk to user safety, well-being. And again, remember, that was kind of the justifications for the censorship of the truckers' protests in Canada, right? It was for the well-being of the collective, the well-being of Canada, right? Who got to decide that? I didn't understand that at all. The promotion of hate, violence, racial, or other forms of intolerance that is discriminatory. Okay, I agree with that. I think racism is bad. It's stupid. Promotion of hate, violence. I totally agree with that. But I'm going to make the case that I feel like can be easily abused depending on what the PayPal policymaker gets to dictate. Oh, is that hate? There's been a lot of things on social media that have been labeled as hate that 50% of the world believes, no, that's discussion, right? So anyways, it's a very slippery path. And again, why is a financial services company that's supposed to be neutral, right? Because money is neutral. Think about how Bitcoin works, right? And they call Bitcoin, they don't call Bitcoin the money of enemies for no reason, right? Bitcoin is neutral, right? It doesn't grant the ability for anybody to be censored. It's censorship resistant. So you have to be okay with your enemy using Bitcoin. This is completely on the other side. There's a powerful group in PayPal that are going to get to decide who is entitled to use money and who's not entitled to use money. Anyways, it goes on to say deliberations will be made at the sole discretion of PayPal and may subject the user to damages, including the removal of $2,500 debited directly from your PayPal account per offense. That's right. If you're asking questions about a certain thing, Opti, they just took $2,500 out of your account. Those questions you were asking, they were dangerous and hateful. Like, it's so scary, man. Presently, a reasonable minimum estimate of PayPal's actual damages due to the administrative cost of tracking violations and damage to the company's reputation Whatever motivation PayPal has for establishing these vague new categories of prohibited expression, they will almost certainly have a severe chilling effect on users' speech. Absolutely, because what are you going to start to see? People are going to start self-censoring themselves because they fear of being fined that $2,500, right? That's a lot of money for a lot of people, right? Anyways, of course, they walked it back. This is Leela Hay Newman. She's a security reporter for Wired. And she said, this $2,500 PayPal misinfo fine, an AUP notice recently went out, an error that included incorrect information. PayPal is not fining people for misinformation, and this language was never intended to be inserted in our policy. Our teams are working to correct our policy pages. Do you guys believe that? I call BS. So why'd they say that? Well, let's take a look at their stock. Absolutely falling off a cliff. It's lost, let's see, from the very top, lost about 71%. So it's as much as Bitcoin. Went down all the way down to 76%. Definitely acting like a shitcoin. And again, it's crazy that they're releasing these types of policies when their stock is doing these types of things, right? And here is, the economic reality hitting him in the face. There was a mass exodus of people leaving PayPal yesterday. Now, I told you I would connect this with central bank digital currencies. And if you want to know what a central bank digital currency future would look like, just look at the PayPal example, right? Punishing you for misinformation, punishing you for things that they get to decide is hateful speech. Remember that the social credit system in China functions a very similar way. And now I'm going to make the case that they're trying to implement that in the United States. And of course, they're using their favorite boogeyman, the climate. Remember, the climate was the main excuse for the Biden White House to justify proof of work mining. That excuse was so successful that New York State banned Bitcoin mining because of fighting climate change. It's not that we don't believe in climate change. It's that big government has never been able to fix anything. What makes you think giving bureaucrats more power over your life will fix this? Right? It's just like, it's so ridiculous. And again, remember, because I know what a lot of people are saying. It's like the digital assets framework by the Biden White House didn't say that. New York didn't say that. Well, yes, they did, because they made the standards for being, green friendly or climate friendly so high that it basically makes Bitcoin mining unfeasible because no one's able to meet those standards. Not to mention, and I think this is the smoking gun, is that no other industry, including gold mining, is forced to meet those standards. It's only proof of work Bitcoin mining. And now, since, our favorite shitcoin Ethereum has pivoted and gone to proof of stake, Bitcoin now makes up 94% of proof of work mining, right? So anyways, when they use the climate, I get suspicious. So this is the press release. Federal Reserve Board announces that 6 of the nation's largest banks will participate in a pilot climate scenario analysis exercise designated to enhance the ability of supervisors and firms to measure and manage climate-related financial risks. Here's this awesome article by the Dossier. It's by Jordan. I'm sorry, man, I can't pronounce your last name. The name of the article is Federal Reserve announces major pilot exercise for ESG social credit system, the social credit score system. It says the Federal Reserve has taken a major step in the direction of facilitating an ESG compliant monetary network that effectively acts as a parallel system to that of the Chinese Communist Party infamous social credit scoring system. In other words, the Fed is working with the big banks to monitor their ability to comply with the ruling class's preferred enviro-statist technocratic tyranny. The unaccountable people behind the American money printer claim that this exercise is exploratory in nature and does not have capital consequences. The climate narrative is the chief rhetorical facilitator for the ESG movement. And remember, don't count that out, because they've used that and they are using that as an excuse to go after Bitcoin proof of work mining. ESG acts as a Trojan horse for the continuing centralization of the American financial system. ESG finance, popularized by hyper-political asset manager behemoths like BlackRock and Vanguard, acts to prevent outsiders from challenging the regime-connected insiders on Wall Street and in Washington, under the guise of acting to manifest a healthier planet. In other words, pro-ESG institutions are committed to attacking free market principles by means of deception, preferring the CCP-style stakeholder capitalism that allows for a small group of technocratic elites to make broad determinations about society. The ESG green transition, frequently popularized by powerful world governments in the Davos elite, has served as the main vehicle for the movement. Akin to the Chinese social credit system, which is used to coerce businesses and by extension individuals into specific actions, ESG rules force individuals and businesses in America to deploy capital through the gatekeepers of the system. By considering a range of possible future climate pathways, associated economic and financial development, scenario analysis can assist firms and supervisors in understanding how climate-related financial risks may manifest and differ from historical experience. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The central bank is getting into fighting climate change. What the fuck does a central bank have to do with climate change? Well, I think it all boils down to control, right? The banks involved in this pilot project are Bank of America, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, Morgan Stanley, and Wells Fargo. Of course, it's just a scenario until it's not. The Fed pilot program is set to launch in early 2023. Okay, all that being said, look at what PayPal is doing. Look at what the Federal Reserve is doing. And this goes down to the case that we've been making for you guys for months now, that it's either Bitcoin or it's slavery. This is the world that they want for you. In a world that a few group of elites get to pick and choose what is the right information, what is the correct narrative, what are the things that you can buy with your money, what are the things that you can eat with your money. They want to be able to get to decide that. And if your wealth and your money is not Bitcoin, they're already halfway there because they have the rails captured. And think about how much they could force you to do things that you might not necessarily agree with. Look at the PayPal example. Are you saying that if PayPal implemented this policy and you had a large portion of your income coming through PayPal because you had an e-commerce store, you wouldn't change the way you talk out of fear of getting deplatformed, right? That's the mechanism. That's the coercion mechanism right there. And now look at what governments want to do with central bank digital currencies, right? This is the future ahead of us. And as the case that I've been making for months now, right now, the lines are a little bit obfuscated because it's so far away. The central bank digital currencies are being rolled out, but they're not being popular. They're not being implemented in society. The PayPal was a glimpse into the future of what that world will look like. Right? It was a glimpse. You're looking at the future. This is what they're thinking, right? And the only reason they walked this back is because they got caught red-handed. They got caught with the smoking gun and they said, oh, you know what? We never meant to put that specific language in those policies that was written really well with perfect grammar. We never meant to do that. I'm sorry. Forgive us. So going back to my original point, when we say Bitcoin or slavery, we are not exaggerating. That is the world that we're heading in, and you have to choose as an individual what world do you want to live in and what world do you want your children to live in. Right now, it's kind of up in the air. There's a lot of moving pieces. It doesn't sound or look that important, but I guarantee you definitely want to position yourself in the right place before the music stops, because after the music stops, that's when everybody's going to be running for the exit door at the same time, and you don't want to be there. Anyways, Rusty, I know it went a little bit long today, but I felt like it was very important, and I had to connect the dots between PayPal and the central bank digital currency systems that governments envision, specifically in developed countries, that governments envision us using. I know that in Australia, the Australian government is pushing central bank digital currencies hard down there.
Okay, that's news to me. Probably I haven't heard much on this CBDCs here, but But PayPal, first of all, probably should be noted that there's no way that Opti has $2,500 in his PayPal account.
Facts.
But yeah, like when I read that, it was like it's kind of like what we've been seeing anyway. It's like the banks were doing it. If you like put Bitcoin in your transaction details, then you get a call from the bank saying, we're freezing your accounts because you might be getting scammed, or they're trying. So they do it that way. Then PayPal was knocking people off for certain transactions or money coming from certain areas, or if they thought a transaction was dodgy, they were shutting people out. So we were kind of getting used to that. And so but now, like, and as well, like, what are they talking about? Are they talking about like PayPal are now a surveillance company? Are they like checking everybody's social media accounts? Are they like how exactly are they seeing all of this stuff so they can find their? It's not like PayPal is a social media platform. So that's
It's
kind
worse.
of
It's worse, dude. It's worse. It's worse than a social media company, because a social media company, they're gonna slap you on the wrist. Maybe they ban your account. Maybe you create another account. Now they're going after the most important thing, which is people's money. People's, like, that actually can have a major. If you get banned off Twitter, fine. You might not get the dopamine rushes of getting the likes and getting the engagement that you're used to. Woohoo, whoop-de-doo. But imagine, Rusty, you say something like, you say something about the premiere in Australia, PayPal could step in and say, hey, that was hate speech. And now what are you going to say?
Yeah.
You're going to protect your family and say, I love the premiere in Australia. He's the best fucking premiere I've ever fucking seen. Right? And what I'm describing is literally what happens in communist countries. Right? It's like, there's a word for it. It's called like a forced session or whatever, right? They try to force a confession out of you, and then they torture you in the process. This is a form of coercion, and it's a very scary type. And it's like, dude, if they get away with this, they've mastered it. Because, dude, think about it. The only people that are going to be able to, it's only going to be a very small fraction of society that is going to be in the position to speak out against the government. But the vast majority of people, dude, they're stuck. Like, what are they going to say? Like, are they going to risk being, are they going to risk their e-commerce business because they want to say something against the president? Man, that is the road that they want from us. That's where we're heading. That's literally where we're heading, and the only option to fix this is by opting out entirely and going into Bitcoin. And fuck you, Greg.
Yeah,
actually,
I had a similar scenario that I was chatting with the Meme Factory boys about, and I got this because I got the Rope meme shirt on today. So thanks Rope. I know you're shilling it in the chat. But I got the black version as well now, and I thought, okay, it'd be a funny post. I'll put up like a picture of Kanye West and his latest shirt that he came out with, and I changed the text to like black shirts matter, and I thought this would be fine, right? And then I was like, you know what? No, I think I'll probably get cancelled.
Yeah.
And get fined by PayPal. So yeah, it's like it's not. They're not telling you can't do something. It's like they're telling you, if you can do it. Like, we got a democracy, you can do it. But you just shut all your shit down. Probably if you do it.
It's
yeah.
It's like, look, if you go down this way, we will beat the crap out of you. But if you go down this way, we'll give you $100 in UBI, like that's literally where it's going. And of course, what's the alternative? The alternative is Bitcoin, right? Where, dude, you can go whichever way your heart desires. And which is why they're using the climate as a justification to attack Bitcoin's proof of work. As long as Bitcoin exists, those systems don't work because people will always want to pick the free alternative, right? The alternative that has more freedom, right? So yeah, man, it's, bro, the Davos group, man, like fucking evil ass people, bro. What does it say? Bitcoin fixes this. Yes, absolutely it does. It absolutely does fix this, but only if you take Bitcoin into self-custody, and preferably you should be running your own node. The NODL's awesome, but you could also build your own too. Opti, what are your thoughts on this, bro? You're the in-house truther. I know you're gonna drop some truth bombs right now.
Well, I was just going to start this off with go woke, go broke. They definitely knew what they were doing, and the market reacted swiftly to this announcement. And what did they have to do? They had to roll it back because it's like you pointed out, man, this is definitely a precursor to what CBDCs would be doing to us. And this is why we go so hard against CBDCs, because it's all about control. And we know that big corporation is intertwined with big government. So, like, in my opinion, this is like a fascistic play. You know, I don't know if that's the correct way to say it, but this is Orwellian, dystopian level thought police actions. And I love what Rusty's point was of PayPal being a censorship platform now. You know, like Nico was saying, man, if they can cancel your money, then they can cancel your livelihood, and they can cancel what you believe in and what you can say online. But, you know, Bitcoin fixes this, and this is why we need to push the Bitcoin narrative instead of just freaking out and being reactionary with all these news. It's like Bitcoin fixes this. We have the tools to make this a non-issue, and it's Bitcoin. So take your Bitcoin into self-custody, you know, get Bitcoin peer-to-peer, work for Bitcoin, give your services for Bitcoin, and, you know, like, Bitcoin can't be canceled. Bitcoin is free speech money, and we got to just continue to spread the positives about Bitcoin so people can learn that what PayPal does cannot be done on Bitcoin, and we can make them irrelevant. We say it all the time. The free market will speak, you know, truth to power, or whatever the meme is, and like, the free market is the harshest critic. And if they continue to go woke, they continue to go down this clown world narrative of, oh, you know, we can control what you're thinking and what you do because we will cancel you and we'll fine you. It's like, it's just going to stress and affect Bitcoin. So we need to continue to push the narrative that Bitcoin fixes this. Bitcoin is censorship resistant money. Bitcoin is for enemies. Bitcoin is neutral money. And, you know, as we say, as it goes around on Bitcoin, you know, Bitcoin is FU money. And with that means you can say and do things that you can't get canceled for. And we're not advocating for people to, quote unquote, you know, say hate speech or whatever. But, like, this is ridiculous that we are going to get fined and canceled for, quote unquote, misinformation. Like, who are they to say what misinformation is? I thought this was a quote unquote democracy where we can discuss ideas.
And not only that, right? It's only a democracy if it goes a certain way. Dude, and it goes the way of totalitarianism, of course. So that idea in itself, right, is that it's not like these people have anything to stand on. They've broken that trust consistently. It's like they beat you with the shovel, and then they look at you and they tell you, why don't you trust me? Like, of course you're not gonna trust it, man. You know, we're at that part of the movie, man, where it's like, bro, like, it's like they don't deserve that trust. They've continued to abuse that trust. Enough is enough. And now what they want from you is for you to use a money that has the potential to influence your actions, man. And it's absolutely terrifying. And I think the PayPal, they really slipped up there. They really slipped up. But it shows you, it gives you a glimpse of the future if they get away with implementing central bank digital currencies, and if they get away with people using central bank digital currencies. That's the world that you're going to be looking for. That's the world they're going to be looking at. If you say a certain thing, automatic fine, automatic tax deduction, automatic this. It's very, very scary. Anyways, Opti, I'm excited for the culture. Let's check it out.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today. All right, I also want to give a shout out to Pacific Bitcoin. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference on the West Coast, November 10th through 11th, Los Angeles, California. Speaker list includes Michael Saylor, Lynn Alden, Corey Clipston, Jeff Booth, Dylan LeClaire, Guy Swan, Mark Moss, Nico and Opti, and Greg Foss as well. Nico and Opti are going to be doing a live Simply Bitcoin from the Pacific Bitcoin conference. You're not going to want to miss it. You can take advantage of the promo code SIMPLY, all caps, to get a 20% discount on your Pacific Bitcoin tickets. Definitely go check out that conference, guys. It's going to be epic AF. Opti, what do we got?
Awesome. So, guys, We tell you guys all the time, me and Nico don't necessarily plan both of our segments, knowingly what we are going to be talking about. But today, it couldn't have been a better segue or transition into what I'm going to talk about and what we just talked about in the last news segment. So I'll cover exactly that at the end. But today, for those listening in Spaces, I am covering a Bitcoin Magazine article, and it's called "You Are Responsible for Introducing Those Around You to Bitcoin." Every Bitcoiner should seriously consider the time they spend educating those around them about the technology. And this is what I try to tell you guys all the time on the culture segment. Like, be a shining example of what it is to be a Bitcoiner. Spread Bitcoin in real life and not just on Twitter. I know my OPSEC, but people need to know that the tools are out there and that we have the solution, and it is Bitcoin. So let me get into this article. I will read some of it because I think there was really great points that do my job for me. So the number of people buying and using Bitcoin is on the rise. Jason Dean calculated that in the first 6 months of 2021, the number of Bitcoin users grew about 165 people per minute. It sounds like a lot, right? But we need to get to a point where Bitcoin takes its place in common parlance, and we all have a role to play. And this is you. So if you're reading this, it's probably because you've been through the personal epiphany, which is the discovery of Bitcoin. Most of us can recognize the stages, and others too. We tend to move from skepticism to a tentative trying out of Bitcoin and a small investment, usually a brief phase, in which we think that this or that shitcoin is also viable investment. Be honest, you probably did too at some point, but then you do your own research, and it includes at least considering the other options before concluding that being a maxi is the way forward. So, you fall down the rabbit hole in that phase. You can't get enough. We're hungry for real information about money. Most of us have been that person who sit 30 minutes in a stationary car at their destination to listen to the last bit of the podcast. I know I have. I've done that so much. That's why I wanted to add that, because you get to this point where you kind of just put your toes in Bitcoin, and then you start learning more, and the more you learn, it hits you like a ton of bricks. You're like, oh my God, wow, I need to devour all this information. I need to put everything I can in Bitcoin, because look at the PayPal news. They want to cancel you and take all your money if you don't have the right thing. Like, this is absolutely clown world stuff. And then comes that time when you have the life starts change, or that life-changing moment. You start questioning everything, and there's no denying it. Bitcoin is absolutely life-changing. Once you've seen it, there's just no going back. So let's face it, it's hard to talk about money, and the more you talk about money to people, you get in arguments and it gets heated. But being able to discuss money with your family is a really crucial skill, and we should be able to hold fluid, relaxed conversations about money, and the basis of these conversations must be the real nature of money, where it comes from, how it works, and what we need to do. And we tell you guys all the time, I know the fiat world, the Keynesian economics, the Ben Bernankes and the Paul Krugmans of the world will tell you that the only currency is coming from the government, but Bitcoin blows that thesis out of the water. So we need to, I've said it before, bait the hook so that the person that you are talking to realizes why they need Bitcoin. So what problem does Bitcoin solve for you? What problem does Bitcoin solve for your friends and family? What problem does Bitcoin solve for those who live in the global south or under repressive regimes? These are the things we need to explain to people. This is why we try to tell you guys all the time that we need call to arms. Like, we need to make people realize that what the Bitcoin utility is for people, and not just be shitting on people because they aren't Bitcoiners. We need to understand where people are coming from and lead them to the meme. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. But if you paint in a way where, like, hey, this water is really delicious and you should probably drink it if you're dying of thirst, people will start to get it. So put your Twitter handles down and step away with your hands in the air. Yes, I know we need to talk. I know we need Twitter. I know you learned from Twitter. I know I did. But Twitter does get to a point where you're not really learning from it. You're just kind of shit posting, and I'm not against shit posting, but I realize that if we are really here to spread the sound money gospel, we're really here to advocate for Bitcoin, then the best tool is not just necessarily on Twitter. This is why we do the YouTube show. This is why we do the writings. This is why we do all the other content we do on all the other social media platforms, is so that we can get this message in front of people. And whether you think you're a Bitcoin content creator, you are. And so you need to spread this message away from Twitter. I'm not saying get off Twitter, but I really love how he put this in this article. Twitter sometimes is about who hates who right now, who we are canceling because they might have the audacity to charge for a course, because they dare to suggest that maximalism is getting a little toxic around the edges, or whomsoever currently has the dubious honor of being the focus of negative attention. Yes, been there, done that. While Twitter has undeniably played a vital role in the development of the international Bitcoin community, I know my community community. It's also playing a destructive role, slurping up our time and our attention and wasting our energy on pointless infighting. We're never going to insult people into financial freedom. Encouraging people to do their own research is undermined by the cancel culture. We need solid, interesting, engaging materials for those who are starting out and learning about Bitcoin. Here's a thought. Take a look at how much screen time you spend on Twitter each day and make a pledge. Take half of that time and spend it explaining to Bitcoin to someone new or developing something online which people can use as a learning resource instead. And this is what we try to tell you guys. I know we're on Twitter all the time, we're on YouTube all the time, but I'm really taking an active role in building my community around me so that people in real life understand that Bitcoin is the solution, guys. I know we can dunk on the Fed, we can dunk on PayPal all we want, but most people don't care about that stuff, and most people don't know why they should care about stuff. So we got to get in front of that and give them the tools and the understanding that Bitcoin is the solution for all the world's problems. And, you got to meet people where they are. You can't beat people over the head with all the knowledge you have, because remember when you didn't know any of this stuff, and now we go around and just shit on people. And I personally have understood in the last few months that this isn't the most productive way to spread the sound money gospel. And I am really out here trying to spread Bitcoin to everyone, because I've understood that Bitcoin is the most inclusive freedom tool for everybody in the world. And this is why I am such an advocate of in our spaces on Twitter of like, look guys, come up and talk with me, because you can communicate in a way that might get to one person that I could never, because of the way of my communication style. Each one teaches one. So a call to arms. Who have you orange pilled this week? We underestimate the power of community, and joining a community as such is not necessarily a part of becoming a Bitcoiner. Just one of the beautiful things about freedom it brings is that you get to choose how far into the experience you want to go. But once you have seen the ugly soul of the fiat system and the pristine alternative Bitcoin offers, you can't look away. It could even be argued that there's a moral and ethical duty here to help others towards a better system too. So here's my request. Take some time out this week to make a positive contribution in the forms of orange pilling. We all have a sphere of influence, and we're all here pushing the sound money gospel, as I say. So invest some of your time thinking about the message about Bitcoin that you share with others. Troubleshoot your approach. Are you doing something effectively? Where are you going wrong? And if you can, share these learning experiences too. And this is what I try to tell you guys every single day on the Daily Culture. Spread the sound money gospel, but realize that there is more effective ways to spread this messaging. And dunking on people, there's a time and a place for that. There's a time and a place to battle your enemies, but there's also people out there that are learning, that are willing to learn, and they're open to learning. And spreading a positive message around Bitcoin, in my opinion, and from my experience, goes a lot farther than just shitting on things that you don't like. And I really like this thread that I found by Beauty On, and he says basically the same thing. Obviously, in his way, I know you guys can say what you want about Beauty On, but I think he's been on course for me. Whenever he says something, I listen. So I think you guys should as well. Look, ordinary people don't have any control over the Fed and never will, or over what PayPal does. What ordinary people do have control over is Bitcoin. Complaining endlessly about the Fed or about PayPal is ultimately useless. Promoting ethical Bitcoin can bring a final end to the Fed, so all interested men should do that. That means using your Twitter account your huge Twitter account to encourage people to install Wallet of Satoshi, Samurai Wallet, Breeze, Pine, Phoenix or Moon or Blue Wallet, Sparrow, Spectre, Bitcoin Core, so that millions are onboarded. And if you're not doing this and refraining from spreading the solution, what should people make of this? You can't claim you really care about the problems you ceaselessly repeat yourself about, because if you did care, you would spread the solution, and there's no excuse anymore. The libertarians before Bitcoin had an excuse, and they promoted gold relentlessly. Why are you not promoting Bitcoin wallets? Bitcoin cannot be used without Bitcoin wallets, and billions cannot be put onto Bitcoin without consumer-grade Bitcoin wallets. So the next step is obvious. If you want to end the Fed, you promote consumer Bitcoin wallets and services. And this is something I've been learning, that, guys, it is much more effective to push the solutions to Bitcoin. I know we're so far down the rabbit hole that things become very obvious to us, that it's I fundamentally have learned that you need to go back to basics sometime and explain to people the very core fundamental reasons of why we are in Bitcoin. Like we said today, freedom money, censorship resistant money, 21 million hard cap. These are solid memes for a reason, because we need to get this core ethos out. But furthermore, even when we tell you guys to take self-custody, we should be adding the solution so that people don't get rug pulled on Google or Apple platforms using the wrong tools, using shitty Bitcoin wallets that aren't the most ethical, that are maybe created by bad actors. So when you tell people to do self-custody, like I'm going to continue to try to do on the culture segment, we will give you guys what solutions we think are the best products to be using right now. Look, we like Shift Crypto. They're a sponsor on our show, but there's a lot of good products out there, and I'll continue to name them for you guys because people need to know what are the best products out there, because if they don't know about what the best tools are, then the self-custody they're doing is useless. So continue to spread the message, continue to orange pill people, because the world needs Bitcoin more than ever. And we have the tools. So it is upon you guys. You are the frontline soldiers. Don't just meme on Twitter. Talk to people in real life about Bitcoin and why Bitcoin is valuable to them. And we will just continue to spread this message. Anyways, rant over. I got distracted by Juan's message in the comment.
Yeah. So yeah, dude, absolutely. Self-custody is so important. Obviously, we prefer the Bitbox. But, there's so many other great hardware devices. You don't even need a hardware device, too. You could just use your computer. Obviously, don't recommend that. But yeah, man, it's the self-custody is the revolution. It's what's important. I think beauty on, man, it's like you pick that. And I said my bit about PayPal. And, it's again, like it's weird how we're in sync sometimes. But yeah, look, if you're going to complain about the Fed, you're going to complain about PayPal, do it all you want. But if you actually want to effectuate change, it's not about voting, right? The most powerful it's not about fiat voting, better said. The most powerful vote that you could make is buying, earning, mining Bitcoin, and taking that said Bitcoin into self-custody. That is the most powerful vote you can make, right? And if enough people do that, we win, and there's nothing the totalitarians could do about it. Rusty, everyone's been waiting for your opinion on this. Go at it hard.
Oh man, that was serious opti. That was a big whack of serious opti. That was intense. You know what? I have actually been thinking about this, and it's probably one of the reasons I started to put merch out, because it's like, merch is kind of a way to get it out there. Get some memes on some shirts out in public. Get that one. And the other thing I was thinking about is it's orange pilling like your family and friends is fucking hard. It's kind of been poisoned. You say the word Bitcoin and people's eyes glaze over. They try to change the topic. They say, oh I've got to go. They think you're like some sort of Amway salesman. It's tough, and it's like a chicken and egg situation. You tell people to buy Bitcoin, and put the emphasis on that, and then they're just going to sell it because they don't know what they're doing when the price drops. So therefore, it's like, okay, well, no, you need to learn about Bitcoin first before you worry about buying it. But then it's like, but people don't want to learn about it until they've got skin in the game. So it's like this whole chicken and egg situation. So I was thinking one of the solutions is the whole Bitcoin beach solution. And to go out in the community and start start a little gathering, like put on your local Facebook page. I'm going to be down at the beach. I'm going to be at this cafe. I'm going to be, I'm just going to, if anyone has any questions, if anyone's ever wondered about it, come and join in. And that was one way I thought could be a good way to do it, like spread the word. But I don't know. For me, this is probably a lot of people trying to bring it up at a dinner table. It's like that's done. That's not happening. But yeah,
Dude,
there's some other ways to do it.
The NPCs are so committed to, their way of thinking that maybe it's just because we just scare people away. It's like, you don't understand. I found the soundest money that has ever been created, 21 million. And then they look at us and they're like, all right, man, I just want to have
Yeah. Like you tell them stuff like, but there's only 21 million. It's like, that's not enough information. You can't just tell someone there's only 21 million. It means nothing. You gotta, there's so much more, and where do you start? And And you kind of just have to, they just have to buy it, and then they understand, and then they go down the rabbit hole themselves. So yeah, chicken and egg.
Chicken and egg. Anyways, Opti, that was great. Very
That was
inspiring,
intense.
bro. Very, very optimistic.
Well
Maybe
done.
too optimistic.
No such thing.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by CipherSafe. Don't be that person that loses their Bitcoin seed due to fire damage, water damage, dog attacks. Back up your generational Bitcoin wealth on steel. And there's no better place to do it than the Cypher Grid by CipherSafe. And now check out their new Bitcoin art, the Bitcoin Rulux triangle, only on cyphersafe.io. CipherSafe.io.
All right, guys, you already know the meme. For the meme review, tweets are the bullets and memes are the artillery. And I hope you didn't think I was shitting on shit posters in the last segment, because I fundamentally believe that I wouldn't be here without memes. But we definitely need more calls of actions. We're pointing out the problems. Now let's give people the solutions, because the world needs Bitcoin more than ever. So let's get into this meme review. This first one is by Lou, and he goes, yuppie elites and tradfi bros are in disbelief. And this chart got dropped by NYDIG, and as you can see, the Q3 2022 asset class returns, there is Bitcoin at the top of it all. And hey, it's only a 3%, but if you look at everything else in here, they are all
Zoom
getting
in.
wrecked. I don't know how to zoom in more.
Pinch.
I don't have the pinch.
There you go.
I
There you
don't
go.
have
You're
a
pinching.
pinch. It doesn't have a pinch. It doesn't have a pinch. I'll get the pinch feature for you guys. Anyways, you guys can see precious metals is following with 1.3, cash at 0.2%, inflation supposedly at 0%. And then you have all these other supposed, great things and safe things to be saving in, and Bitcoin is the least volatile. Like, look at this.
And it's kicking gold's ass.
Dude,
like gold
kicking. And everything
is
else, treasuries, like U.S. stock market, European stocks, just
Wrecked.
it's like it's all getting wrecked, and Bitcoin is still too volatile for most people. But I think Bitcoin, as I've been saying, it was created for this moment. It's almost like it was meant for this moment. It's almost like it's the best currency and money in the world. Anyways, this next one, is by name Sios. I don't know how to say your name as well, but it's the Star Wars meme, the Anakin, and I forget what her name is, but
Padme.
Okay, exactly. So Anakin goes, the man who introduced QE and bailed out banks in 2008 just won the Nobel Prize of Economics. And Padme goes, you're kidding, right? And the Anakin smile. And she goes, right?
Nobel Prize for Economics should have gone to Satoshi.
Amazing.
All right.
Absolutely amazing. Clown World confirmed. Anyways, this next one is by 21JCLP, and he says, I am a Bitcoin toxic maximalist, hashtag Bitcoin 24/7. And we got the Chad Bitcoiner with laser eyes going, I am a Bitcoin toxic maximalist. And we got the World Economic Forum, illustrated by that one girl with the yellow jacket, and it's got proof of stake on her arm. No! This is why they don't want you to be a toxic Bitcoiner, because as we showed on the Friday show, shoot holes in all the fiat narratives. Anyways, this next one is by my boy Copernicus, and he gave me a PC meme, because we can't show all your nasty memes on YouTube. Anyways, he goes, simply Bitcoin. The irony is this is my censored meme that's okay for YouTube. And he goes, fiat life on PayPal, Visa, MasterCard. We got an NPC with a smile mask, goes, I ate bugs, own nothing, support the current thing. Please let me buy pizza on credit. And then we got an NPC crying eyes. Decline. You said mean things in a picture. You owe us $2,500. Life on Bitcoin. We got two Chads. It goes Sned with the Bitcoin lightning in the middle.
Oh,
Sned
man.
the memes.
That is a great one. Wow, dude.
Hey, I had to add some good ones for the topics we have covered today. And this next one is RDBTC. And he goes, there's just no hope for some people. And it's a bunch of gray NPCs, all repeating the same message. There's nothing wrong with the current system of money. We can trust our leaders and the banks. I think we thoroughly destroyed that
Govern me
narrative
harder,
today.
Daddy.
Govern me harder, Daddy. And this next one, for some people, might not consider this a meme, but again, pictures paint 1,000 words, and I got to add Lawrence here on a meme, because it's almost like something happened in 1913. Credit, maybe. And if you see this chart, You can see that on the gold standard. There was a nice ratio, Dow to gold ratio for, this is a chart of the last 200 years, and it's moving in a nice trend channel. And ever since 1913, guys, do you remember what happened in 1913? It's almost like the Federal Reserve got created in 1913. Actually, it did. And look at what's happened to the Dow gold ratio. It's off the charts. It's seeming like there is no rudder going on this fiat or economic experiment that we are going in. And this is why we get all these crazy fluctuations and all this craziness in our world, is because we have completely lost the plot and our money is untethered. This is why we continue to advocate for the sound money gospel, because the world needs a solid money, or else we get all this crazy fiat stuff that we talk about every single day. Anyways, today for my meme review score, it is my camera
Lens cap.
Lens cap. See,
That's a cop-out score.
Oof.
That's the type of score you give when you don't got scores.
Well, I have
That's
something
a
else,
shit score.
but
That's
I
a
don't
really
know what it
shit
is.
score.
I literally don't know what this is, so I didn't want to use it. I didn't want to get shit on for my other score.
Okay. All right. So, guys, this is Simply Bitcoin Live. So make sure to rate the meme, then the live chat, put in the live chat, and me and Opti will read it out. For that, I'm going to give it this bag of oyster crackers that I just opened. I'm going to have one. Very delicious.
Nico eating on stream. Who could have saw this coming?
Rusty, what would you give those memes?
Well, there was an RD meme in there, so I got to give it a good score. And I actually laughed out loud with the PayPal one, so that was decent. So I'm giving those memes what I take when I vote. Yeah, this sword. This
Did
14th
Opti
century.
really make that a real thing?
Yeah. Yeah, in Australia, we don't have guns, so we all carry swords.
Meme it
how
into
we roll.
reality, Nico. Meme it into reality. Okay, we got a few scores already in here.
Jesus.
First one by Brandon.
We don't advocate for that, by the way. It's a joke.
Oh, $2,500. I'm getting fined.
I think we all are. All right, first one's by Brandon. Since Nico's eating oyster crackers, I give those memes a Canadian truck. Perfect. Next one is by Michael Morrison. He says, I give those memes a .pop Ruby method. Okay, going on. Ooh, we get a sword sheath, unsheathed. Huddle Coin goes, I give those memes a middle finger to the status at PayPal. Let's go. We got Rope. He says, rating those memes an awful post office delivery man. Okay. Not sure the inside joke, but go on. Z Logic goes, I give those memes $2,500.
We're gonna need that.
I think we're gonna need more. This next one is by Leroy Euphrates, and he goes, I give those memes one whole pepperoni pizza from Kalahari Resort that is somehow cheaper than 4 pieces of pizza. Facts. Let's see.
I know you.
Yeah,
hey, bro.
right? What's up, G? He goes, all right, we got Narwhal Tacos. He goes, oh, score shame is hard today. Hold on. Guy's shaming me, man. All right, Rave Elevator goes, I give those memes my increased electric bill. Oof. Oh, okay, here, I got one. Opti's neglected summer fling, Ursula von der Leyen. Score Ursa's love letter to Opti explaining how he rugged her heart.
That's right. They want to implement central bank digital currencies because Opti rug pulled them.
Amazing.
You created this.
Somehow, some way, this is Opti's fault. Anyways, Weinicke says, I give it a rug pulled Celsius account. Oof.
Savage.
Yikes. Okay, one last one, and we'll keep this moving. Narwhal Tacos goes, I give those memes a Nobel Prize in economics. Okay.
And
Beautiful.
that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Oyster crackers till 100K. Anyways, Opti, there was an open source software release today. Let's check it out.
Bitcoin software release.
Let's go. Wow, that's coming in super fast on. Anyways, guys, all right, today's software release is kind of a big one. It's LND version 0.15.2. It's a beta. It's a hotfix release to fix a sync issue. So update ASAP. And what happened was someone did a large 998 of 999 TabScript multi-sig transaction, and it basically broke light LND nodes yesterday, and it's causing them to fall out of sync with the chain. So again, a large 998 of 999
That
TabScript.
was on purpose, bro.
Yeah, multi-sig transaction broke LND nodes yesterday, and it caused them to fall out of sync with the chain. So this release fixes that bug. Go upgrade your LND node ASAP if you are running LND. Amazing. People experimenting and breaking Lightning. I guess, people were trusting a little bit out there, and it's a bug that got slipped through. I saw Ben the Carman tweet yesterday. He's like, dude, you did this and you broke Lightning. Like, you broke LND, bro. What happened? Anyways, guys, we are on Anchor. We are on Spotify. And we are on the Apple Podcast. And if you like what we're doing, you can stream us some sats on Fountain, be a part of the Value for Value economy. Anyways, let's throw this one out, Nico.
Yeah, so guys, check out our awesome clothing sponsor. Opti and I wear the merch every single day. Opti, show the back, bro. Opti's wearing the Peaceful Revolution. Oh, yeah. Love that. Only on representltd.com. I'm wearing the camo hoodie. You guys know it's my favorite.
Mine's better, just quietly, but it's just personal opinion.
Rusty,
am I ruining your sponsor?
Clothing battle with us. Anyways, guys, that was the show. Also, check out Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered. Go to www.simplybitcoin.news. Check out our Telegram group. It's a party in there. That's where you can link us memes to review. Go to www.t.me/the Simply Bitcoin channel. It's absolutely free. That's where all the plebs go to hang out and link us memes. It's awesome. I also want to give a very special shout out to our awesome guest, World of Rusty. He is the graphic artist behind a lot of the graphical stuff that Simply Bitcoin uses, that Tone Vase uses, that Meme Factory uses. Some Bitcoin conferences use his artwork as artwork as well. So this is the guy. This is the magic behind the scenes, man. So World of Rusty, appreciate you joining us today. Fucking kangaroos.
Thanks, mate. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, we don't say fucking kangaroos, by the way. That's not a thing.
I saw it in a movie. I had to say
it. Work on the accent.
I know.
Thanks,
I know.
Nico.
It's a very difficult accent, man. Thanks for joining us so much today. Where could people find you online, what you're working on, etc.?
Yeah, World of Rusty on Twitter. I don't want to say shitposting anymore because Opti kind of shat on that. But yeah, shitposting on Twitter, worldofrusty.com. Pick up some cool merch, spreading the message that way. And yeah, if you need any art for your channels or for your profiles or anything that you're working on, then yeah, hit me up.
Absolutely, and I really recommend this guy. He's awesome, and he's really, really good at what he does. Anyways, Rusty, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm going to put you backstage for a second. Guys, that was the Simply Bitcoin show. We really appreciate you coming all. Make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you feel like we provided you value. And the number one thing you could do, not only to help the revolution, but also to help the Simply Bitcoin channel, is share the video. Get the orange pill out there. We love you all, and we will see you tomorrow for a brand new episode of Simply Bitcoin.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best.